Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Destiny, and welcome back to the third part of this course, which I'll be showing you guys an in-depth into what strings in Python are. So, in the last video, I showed you guys a brief overview of strings. I told you that strings are basically plain text, and there are a lot of cool things that you can do with them. Like, there are lots of amazing things that you can do with strings, and that's what I want to show you guys in this video. So without wasting any more time, let's get started. So the first thing I want to show you guys here is how to use some basic things, commands in strings and all that. So let's just go ahead and create a new file, Python file, yeah, and let's name this strings. Okay, and it's opened up. So the first thing we want to do over here is print Desphixs. So if you remember what I told you in the last video, this over here is basically a string. And why is it a string? Because it's stored in double quotation marks, or it could be single, whatever you like, there are still strings. So when you run this, you see over here, sorry, I was running the old file. Let's just right click on this over here and run strings. So as you can see, it says Destiny, and that's a very basic thing that we have just done. Now there's something else I want to show you guys that you could do with strings. Let's say you want, okay, let's just go ahead and print out something. Let's say my name is Destiny and I love coding. Okay, I love coding. When you run this, you see that they are on the same line. But how about you want I love coding to go to the next line? How do you do that? Okay, you could just come over here and hit enter, so this can go to the next line and everybody's happy, everybody's is. But when you run this, what did you notice? They are still on the same line. And why is that? Why is that happening? Since you broke this, you could even give more space like this, expecting that they would go to the other line. But when you run this, as you can see, they are still on the same line. The sentence, they're still on the same line. So what should we do now? Let's just go ahead and close all those large annoying lines. Okay, sorry for that. Let's undo all this. Okay, and it says my name is Destiny and I love coding. How about you want I love coding to go to the next line? So that means we're gonna get rid of the and. So what you have to do is put \n. So \n, you're pretty much good. Run this, and as you can see, they are on different lines now, and that's really amazing. It says my name is Destiny, I love coding, and as you can see, there's a space here before the sentence started. We could just go ahead and close this line, then run this, and as you can see, everything looks nice. So hopefully you've learned something now, how to add a new line within a string. And let's say you just wanted to use a backslash. Using the backslash won't do that. It's just print out a backslash in your Python program. So you have to put n. And what these are called, they are simply just called escape key. Yeah, I think that's what they're called. I'm not really sure about that, but I'm just gonna look that up and remind you of that in this video. But I think they are called escape. Yeah, escape in Python. So that's the first thing we did. The first one we did, we printed basically Desphixs. The second one, we have learned how to put a line in between a string, like a new line in between a string. Now the next one I want to show you guys over here is simple thing which is called printing of variables. Yeah, let's go ahead and print variables. Okay, so let's say there's this phrase variable, and what it says is coders are the best. Okay, yeah, let's just use that phrase. Yeah, it should be a phrase here. So it says coders are the best and all that. So let's say you want to print this phrase. How do you do that? Since if you want to print a string, you have to come in here and type in what you want to print, just like coming in here and typing coders are the best before you must print it. No, it's not a must that you can do that. You could just pick this phrase over here, copy this, put it in here. Now when you run this, what do you see? It says coders are the best, and you could just come over here and change whatever you want to change. Coders are the best, and I love being one of them. Then when you run this, you see it's update. It says coders are the best and I love being one of them. So as you can see, you could print variables alongside strings, variables that, so as you can see, you could print variables using the print function. You could not just print all the strings and all that. So the next thing I want to do now is show you guys like an overview of concatenation that I told you guys in the first video. So in case you're starting off with this video, I just want to go ahead and show you guys just a brief overview of concatenation. But if you want to learn everything that has to do with concatenation, then you have to go watch the second video, which is variables. So this is how concatenation works. Let's say I want to print, sorry, let's just leave the phrase over there, and let's say I want to leave this phrase as let's say I want to leave it as is cool. You understand? No. Let's say I want to leave this phrase as coding. Now, print phrase, it says coding. But how about I want to do something like print coding is cool, or print whatever I want over here? I can just come over here and say phrase plus, then I'll type out what I want. Coding is cool. Then when you run this, you see it says coding is cool, but coding and is, they are joined together, so we need to give this a space over here. And when we run this again, it says they are now separated and it says coding is cool. So that's really one of the basic things that you can use concatenation for. You want to learn fully about concatenation, then you've got to check out the variable video that was in the last one. Okay guys, that's just pretty much it for concatenation. So the next thing I want to show you guys is functions in strings. So I don't know how I'm gonna put this like to the lowest term that you're gonna understand. So I just want to show you guys basic functions that you can use alongside strings. So what are these basic functions gonna help us do? Like, what are their uses? Number one, these functions are gonna help us modify our strings. For example, there's a function that can help us tell how many letters we have in a string. There's a function that can help tell us like if a string is in uppercase or lowercase. There are functions that will tell us that will convert our string to uppercase and to lowercase and all that. Number two, a function can help us get data from strings. So let's just stop beating around the bush and let's get started with writing down some code. So you want to get rid of these. So let's just get rid of this over there, and let's say we want to assign phrase to something new. So assign phrase, I want to assign this to let's say you want to assign this to Desphixs Academy, and take note it should be in double quotation marks. So I want to say Desphixs Academy. So this is a phrase. Now we could just come over here and print phrase, and let's see what we have. So as you can see, we have Desphixs Academy over here. But now I want to use some basic functions here on this phrase. So let's just go ahead and start doing that. The first function I want to show you guys is a function that will convert everything that's in our phrase, that's in our variable, to lower case. So that's just as simple as saying print phrase dot lower. Now when you run this, everything is in the lower letter now. So the second one over here is upper, and you could just guess what it will do. It will convert everything to uppercase. Then the next thing that we can use is upper. So is upper, what's gonna help us do is check if everything that's in, if all the letters that are in the strings are in uppercase. Now it says false. You see that, right? Because some are in uppercase, some are in lowercase. So it says false. But let's say we had everything uppercase. Let's just leave everything in uppercase. Desphixs Academy, and let's run this. Now it says true because everything is in uppercase. But had we were leaving this in is lower, let's say is lower, and we want to run this, it will say false because everything is in uppercase. Let's just go ahead and leave the string the way they were before, and let's see. Is lower, it will still say false because some are in capital letter, some are in lower letter. So that's pretty much it for is upper and is lower. So now you know what is upper and is lower does. Now the next one I want to check is There's actually something that you can do that would convert all the text that are in the string to uppercase, then check if they are now in uppercase. If you don't understand, let's just go ahead and do that. So it's as simple as saying phrase.upper. And what does phrase.upper does? It converts everything over here to uppercase. So phrase.upper, then over here, I want to say dot is upper. So this is going to convert our phrase to uppercase, then check if it's in uppercase. Now we should get true, and it's going to see because automatically it's converted this to uppercase and it's checking if it's in uppercase. Now we can convert these to upper, then check if it's lower, then we'll get false because it's in uppercase. And we'll also convert all these to lower, then check if it's lower, then we'll get true. And hopefully you understand all the things that I'm doing over here, biggest and them. Then the next thing I want to do is check the length of a string. So checking the length of a string, that's like how many letters are here. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13 14. So the function that you can use to check that is len, len. So we could just say, let's just get rid of this phrase. We could say print len of phrase. Now when we print this, you see we'll get 16 because there are 16 letters in here. And it's okay. Let's say I want to add one more letter. Let's say I want to add academia, and let's print this. Now you see we have 17 because we added just one more letter. So len would help us check how many letters we have in the string. So the next thing we want to do now is get individual characters for the string. Let's go ahead and reset this to the way it was. So it's just like this, and let's get rid of this ones over here. So getting individual characters from strings, let's say we want to get just letter D, or let's say we want to get just letter E. How do we do that? The only thing we have to do is print phrase, then open up square brackets and pass in 0. Then let's print. Now it says D. Now how does it know that D is stored in 0? Now this brings us to what they call indexing. So indexing simply like assigns each and every one of the letter over here to a specific number. For example, D is O. E 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. Then there's a space over here, 8 9. Then there's 10 11 12 13 and so on. So as you can see, S is number 2. So if you pass in number 2 over here and print these, then we should get an error because of all this over here. Let's just go ahead and comment this out. So if you print this, we should get an S. So as you can see, we got an S. And let's say you want to do this stuff that I did over here, you should get an error. So just put a hash. Just put a hash at the beginning before you start doing all this. And hopefully you understand what I'm saying. So when you put a 7, you should get S because the 7 over here is the index. The S is in the index number of 7. The index of 7 is assigned to S. So let's just go ahead and print 7. Now we should get S. Let's just go ahead and print 12. Now we get D, which is the D in the academy. And hopefully you understand how you could get individual letters from a string. Now the next thing I want to show you guys is getting indexes from string. If you could remember, what we did earlier was getting letters from string. Now we want to get indexes like the other way around, like vice versa. We want to get indexes from string. So how do you do that? In here you could just pass in letter D, and what do you expect? What do you think it will give you back? It should give you 0. But when we run this, we're definitely gonna get an error. So let's run this, and there is an error. What did the error say? It says name D is not defined. So let's go ahead and define this name. The first thing you have to do here is use a parentheses, double quotation marks, and D. So why are we using double quotation marks and D? And that's because D over here is a string, so it can just stand alone as a variable, as a letter with a string. So when we run this, it says str object is not callable. And there's one more thing we have to do over here. Since we are getting index, we have to put in dot index over here. Now when we run this, we get 0. So let's say we want to run capital A, then you see we'll get 9, which is this one over here. And let's say we want to run X, now you see we'll get 6. So this is how you could get indexes from letters, and hopefully you understand what I'm trying to say. It's very easy. And how about you try putting an index that's not in here? Like, sorry, you try putting a letter that's not in here. What should happen? Okay, let's say we want to put in letter W, and let's run this. Now it should throw an error. It says stop string not found. So it will throw an error when the letter that you're looking for isn't there. So that's pretty much it for getting letters from index. So the next thing I want to do here is show you guys how to replace strings with the replace function. So how do we do that? And before we go ahead and do it, I want to explain what we want to do. So let's just undo all this. Okay, what I want to do now is like replace Desphixs over here with something else. We could replace Desphixs with Shaw. We could replace Desphixs with Photoshop or with coding or programming. But how do we do that? We don't want to come in here manually and type in Photoshop Academy. We don't want to do that. So let's just leave it the way it is at Destiny. So what we want to do over here is print. Then we're going to print phrase and use a function called replace. So the function replace takes in 2 arguments. The first one is what you want to replace. So we want to replace Desphixs. Then the second one is what do you want to replace it to. So we want to replace this to Photoshop. Let's say Photoshop, and I think I can spell Photoshop again. Now when you run this, it says Photoshop Academy. Now it's replaced Desphixs with Photoshop, and it's that easy. There's no biggie in it. So these are pretty much all the basic functions that I have gotten compiled that you can use here in Python. And if you could just go to Google and make a very simple Google search, there are still much functions that you can get. I just got the major ones that you guys are really gonna be using so frequently. And that's pretty much it for this video. Hopefully you enjoyed this one, and if you did, don't forget to drop a like, and don't forget to also leave a comment on this video and subscribe to stay updated with our future videos. And I hope I'll see you in the next one. Bye and stay safe for now.